Hello everyone, it's Mike Vondi here, and in today's video, I'll be talking about why I can't play VR. Okay, so this all happened a long time ago. I must have been around 16 years old. It would have been around 2019, 2018, roundabout there. My sister had gotten a VR headset. I can't even remember how because she didn't have the money. My sister got a VR headset, and I wanted to try it out. And one of the first games we tried out was Resident Evil 7, which, as you know, is a horror game, which is incredibly terrifying and suspenseful to play. Now, this was my first experience playing with a VR headset. So, right off the bat, my first experience was one where I was in a very high stress environment, and on top of it being very high stress, uh, at the time I was prone to very intense paranoia. So I was jumping at every little environmental thing imaginable. I think the further the like how far did I get? I think I got into the house just before going up the stairs. I didn't go any further. And this took me like 20 minutes to do. I was jumping at everything the whole way through. And something about this experience, I noticed I immediately had really bad nausea after playing for like such a limited amount of time. And I also had this horrible sense. I think, like I said at the time, I used to experience really bad paranoia. But on top of the really bad paranoia was the experience of everything feeling very realistic. So I found myself in this strange situation when I took the headset off. I had terrible motion sickness, which was the one thing. But combine the motion sickness with the paranoia and the extreme stress of the game that I was playing, I had this like horrible moment where I took the headset off and I still felt it on my head, which was really strange because I'd taken it off. And I remembered I reached behind my head again to try and pull the headset off, but it was off. I'd taken it off. But I just had this like weird paranoid moment where I was like, but I had just had this weird paranoid moment where it felt like it wasn't off and it was still on my head. I remembered my sense of reality being very shaken after that experience. I found myself struggling to believe whether or not what I was experiencing right now at that moment was in fact real. And and like the paranoia just kept getting worse because I think it was just the stress and the motion sickness combined with my highly anxious state at that point in my life really triggered this like weird episode. And I remember thinking like, what if like keep in mind I was 16 at the time. I was like, what if I put the headset on, but like whoever puts the headset on can never get out. And they just imagine or hallucinate that they've taken it off, but they haven't, and they're still trapped in the simulation. Like they've been captured and they can't escape. Like that, like this like thought crossed my mind. And you know, to be fair, it kind of makes sense when you look at today's world. None of it, nothing really feels real anymore. Nothing feels serious anymore. So who knows? Maybe the headset is still on. But like, and it was just such a strange experience. But also, I tried to use VR again. I chose Minecraft this time. I chose like a game that wasn't going to make me as stressed, but I still had the awful motion sickness and the weird paranoia of, am I really out? Is this real? Because like if you play a video game that's very realistic when you put the headset on and it's super immersive, it can it can tr- I feel like there's the potential for it to trigger that kind of paranoia. Um, so yeah, that's why I can't play with. That's why I can't use VR headsets. I mean, who knows? It could just be maybe if I tried again now, like I don't know, 8 years later or however long later it's been, it will probably go a lot better. I'm much more grounded and stable than I used to be. And I also think that, so I feel like the experience of using a VR headset might go a bit more smoothly. It could also be that the motion sickness was caused to it just being a faulty product. Maybe the headset I was using wasn't perfectly synced up. which I assume could cause that sense of distortion, at least with the motion sickness part of it. But also, like, it also didn't help that, like, prior to trying out the headset, I'd also had like this really paranoid thought, I think like the week before, about like, what if every time I wake up it's not actually me? Like every time I go to bed, I've actually died. Like my consciousness has died. And when I wake up, it's someone else's consciousness that's woken up in that body, but they don't know that they're not the same person as they were yesterday because the because they still have access to the previous person's memories. And so this started this paranoid thought that I had going at the time, which is like, what if every time I sleep I die and it's just a new consciousness in the body? Like, I might only exist for a day without realizing it. And I think I'm experiencing a continuous stream of consciousness, but what if I'm not? What if it's just like, have you ever heard? I'm sure some of you must have heard of the idea that, like, when someone teleports, it's not actually you moving from point A to point B. It's like a copy of you has been made from the point in time that you exited the previous space. So the big debate is it still the same person or is it just a copy? Well, basically, what I was doing at the time was extrapolating this idea to sleep. What if when our consciousness like snuffs out, because most of the time we don't have dreams, right? Most of the time, you're just unconscious. There's, you know, many nights where there is no sort of activity after you lose consciousness. But I think there's even a saying for it, like sleeping is just flirting with death, is the saying. So I had this like horrible paranoia. Now I just don't care anymore. Like I feel like the solution to most existential dread is just not caring. Like, but in a like not caring in like a happy way or a positive way, where it's like it doesn't matter. Like if something is outside of your control, it is simply not worth caring about. Like if it is definitionally an existential problem, it means that it's probably out of your control. And you can actually learn to take comfort in the fact that you don't have to do anything because there's nothing you can do about it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try and make the world better, because I feel like some people will hear that and think, oh, well, I guess I'm just not going to. The world can definitely be made a better place. Absolutely, it can. I mean, you just have to compare to where we are now to where we were 300 years ago. You know, technology, medicine, science, all these things have advanced the world forward. Labor rights, that's another big thing. People being able to have some kind of say in the governments that run their lives. I mean, especially at this point in the world, that doesn't feel as true as it used to. But technically speaking, the mechanisms are there to make the world better. They're still there. It's not an existential problem. Existential in the sense that, yes, your life might be threatened by these systems if we do not find a way to regulate them and bring them back into order. But it's definitely possible to solve. That's what I mean by it's it. You should not be hopeless about that. And you should not resign yourself to just accepting those conditions. If you have the power to change something, by all means, change it. But if you're debating whether or not you are the same consciousness as you were the night before, it's an unknowable answer simply because where we are right now in science and where we are right now in that field of research is it's just not advanced enough to answer the question or even be able to begin to answer the question. So it's not worth stressing about. And even if there were an answer like you are indeed going to die and it is going to be someone else, what are you going to do about it? Never go to sleep? That's going to kill you. So either way, you just accept. You just have to accept it. Like, there are so many parts of life that are like that. Death is one of those things I don't think we should accept. And what I mean by that is, death is caused by something in the material world, right? It's like a physical thing that occurs. And if it's a physical thing, it's a tangible thing. And if it's tangible, it means we can study it, we can break it down, we can analyze it, and we can devise or engineer a solution. So I firmly believe that we should absolutely try and find a cure for aging, and I think we should try and find a cure for all the things that lead people to die. because that is a physical thing, it is a tangible thing. Just because it's been happening to living things for the past since ever, that doesn't mean it is beyond the realm of us being able to change it. Like, in my worldview, there's enormous scope to be able to change the world around you, if you just want to. And if you have the determination, and of course you need the resources, but first you need to get the resources, but before even getting the resources, you need the determination. Get the determination, get the resources, get the know-how. You can have anything. Wow, this really spiraled out of control. This was just a chat about why this was supposed to just be a video of me talking about like the weird experience of VR, and I've spiraled off yet again into a whole array of subjects. Anyways, I'm going to pause this video. No, stop it altogether before it expands way out of the original subject. But I hope you gained something from this. I've never really done this sort of face-to-face, well, face-to-camera kind of format before, but I thought it would be interesting to try. Oh well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and got something out of that. Goodbye. Oh, the mouse doesn't work.